Hey everyone, it's the Yankee in Siberia telling you the truth about life in Russia. And today I thought I'd try to answer a question I get asked a lot, and that is, do you really need to be able to speak Russian in order to visit Siberia? My short answer to that is, if you just want to have a quick visit, then no, you don't really need to know a lot of Russian in order to visit Siberia. You can get by on just speaking English. Especially if you are in the center, that's where the most interesting things to see and do are. And it's all in a walking distance from each other. And in the center of the city, there's all kinds of signs written in both Russian and English underneath that point out the interesting places to visit. And if you want to get something to eat, of course there is McDonald's, KFC, Burger King. They all have electronic cashiers where you can just select English and select what you want on the menu. You don't even have to say anything to anybody. Also in the center of the city, there are many cafes, restaurants that will have English menus. You just have to ask. Usually these are just in the center of the city. If you start going outside of the center of the city, there'll probably be less and less things in English, and you can either just try to point to pictures, or you might need to be with somebody who speaks Russian. When it comes to getting around the city, there are two apps that I would recommend. The first is called, what the Russians call it, Dobry Gis, but because I'm very immature, I call it 2Jiz. And this is a great navigation app that will show you how to get from one place in the city to the other. You probably will need to know some Russian in order to put in your destination and where you want to go. But they have a nice search feature in the app that allows you, if you're just looking for some place to eat, some place to go shopping, for example, you can just put that in the categories and it'll give you a list of places to go, and you can sort by the places that are the closest to you. And if you plan on using public transportation, the app will also show you what bus stop to go to, what number of bus or marshutka that you will need, and if you just follow it, it will tell you when to get off and where to go after that. And the other app that is really helpful to get around the city is just Yandex Taxi. It's pretty much the same thing as Uber. You can download this and put the settings into English. And again, you don't have to call for a taxi. You can just put in where you are, where you want to go. The driver will come and get you, and you're all set. You can just head off. And as far as finding a place to stay, most hotels that are in the center of the city will have somebody who can speak English in order to help you. Now, as far as if you plan on actually staying here for a longer period of time, for example, if you want to live here or stay here for a little while to teach English, it is still possible, but it's going to be much more difficult. Now, in my job, as an English teacher, I really just speak English most of the time. If you plan on staying here for a longer period of time, it will be definitely helpful to learn Russian, at least some of the basics. But again, it won't be necessary if you can find some people in order to help you. Since we will be living in a different country with a different language, if you don't really speak that language, you really won't be able to be all that independent. For example, it will be difficult to go to a doctor if something breaks in your apartment. These are things that you will need help with because it will be difficult to explain. But as far as day-to-day living, it's not too complicated. To be honest, there are just two phrases that I really use on a day-to-day basis here in Russia. The first is paket, пожалуйста. That would mean I need a bag, please. Usually if you go to a grocery store, the cashier will just cash everything out and swipe everything through the scanner, and you might have to ask for a bag, as they don't bag your items here in Russia. So it's really helpful to be able to ask for a bag. As far as paying for everything is concerned, everything will just be on the scanner. You can just really quickly look at the cashier and it'll be written down and you can just pay that way. The other phrase I use on a day-to-day basis is if I'm on a marshutka, and that is "на остановке, пожалуйста," which means the bus stop, please. While you're on the marshutka, you just have to let the driver know that you want to get off at that stop, and he will pull over so you can get out. And honestly, on a day-to-day basis as an English teacher, these are the two phrases I use the most. And if you do plan on staying here in Siberia for a long period of time without learning the language, don't expect a very active social life in only English. Here, it's not as popular of a place such as Moscow or St. Petersburg for expats to come to, so there really isn't much of an expat community here to speak of at all. You may get lucky though and meet some people who do speak English pretty well. I have quite a few friends here in Omsk that can speak English very well, so you never know. When it does come to Russian-speaking English, Russians do learn English here in school now. They usually begin at around the first, second grade, and they go all throughout high school and maybe a class or two in university. So they do begin a lot younger learning foreign languages, especially English. I know in America I didn't start learning a foreign language until 8th grade, and I only studied Spanish in 8th grade and 9th grade. But what I've noticed, like in America, is that most students that will study English, they go as far as their studies and then just completely forget about how to speak the language. Just pass the exam, and once the exams are done, that's it. They don't remember most of what they learned. And that's how I think the majority of people learn foreign languages in America too. And it is the younger people that will speak more English than some of the older people here in Russia. Earlier, most people, instead of English, they studied German in school. So most older people will have studied German and not English. So, what do you think about visiting Siberia if you don't know any Russian? And if you don't know any Russian, would you consider visiting Siberia? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it. And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any more videos about life here in Siberia. So until next time, peace out, Mother Russia.